The NFL season kicks off this Thursday night, and I've already done a deep dive series on all 32 NFL teams this past summer, so you can check those out, but I've yet to do my power rankings. So here it is, my power rankings going into the 2023 NFL season. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. As you can see, I have 5 different tiers here that will pertain to, well, I mean, all the NFL teams, right? They're going to fall into one of these tiers, and we're going to start with that bottom of the league tier, and I only have 5 teams here that I think are just outright the worst of the worst when it pertains to the league. And let's go ahead and start with my bottom team. I feel like this is probably everyone else's bottom team. It's the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, don't know when he will return. Specifically, we've heard like could be week 12, could be week 10, but they did make him the captain going into the season, and they're at least the front office and the coach staff's making it seem, no, there is future plans here with Kyler Murray, even if we get the first overall pick. Problem is, this team is just depleted of talent at the moment. You know, they are in this big rebuild outside of quarterback if they think Kyler Murray is their franchise quarterback. I know they say it, but again, sometimes teams just say things and then do something completely different. We'll find out more of that at the end of the year, but they are my bottom team here in my power rankings. Next is the LA Rams. Outside of like Aaron Donald, like this defense is terrible. I think they just added Duke Shelley. I'm not positive. That's a pretty solid sign-in if they did, but still the defense is terrible. They just, their breadth of talent, they have some rookies on there, and it's just not good. It's, in my opinion, maybe the worst defense in the league if it didn't have Aaron Donald. On offense, Cooper Kupp, he already kind of re-aggravated the hamstring. How many games will we see him for this season? Maybe you get a fully healthy Cooper Kupp throughout the whole season, but I don't think that's likely. Matthew Stafford, he was banged up last year. Will he be able to be healthy? There's just a lot of things going against this team, and it kind of feels like now that they got that Super Bowl, and now they're kind of in this, just things are going downhill at the moment. That's kind of where I feel like the Rams are currently at. At number 30, so to speak, I have the Raiders. Honestly, this team probably could end up a lot better than where everyone's going to have them in their power rankings. Just, you look defensively, and there's a lot of questions in the secondary. Just a lot of young guys in there outside of like Nate Hobbs. You look at like, okay, Trevon Merrick, can he kind of like bounce back to what he looked like his rookie season? They're going to be starting Jacorian Bennett, so it's like, it's not like the most ideal of circumstances. They have an aged vet in Marcus Peters. Then offensively, you know, people are a little skeptical about Jimmy G, but I think he is going to bring a lot of stability to that quarterback position. Maybe not a ton of high upside play, but I think that offense could be good enough for this team to be a lot better than people expect. It's just kind of hard to project it that way. And in all honesty, this team that I have at 29, you can make a case that the Raiders should be, I don't know if I would put them in this next category, which is could be but not likely. Basically talking about they could be wild card contenders or playoff contenders, but it's very, very not likely. You could contend that the Raiders could fall into that category, maybe if they were the NFC. But since they're in the AFC, I just don't buy it. But you could definitely make a good argument that they should be at the top of the bottom of the league category. The next team I have here at 29 is the Indianapolis Colts. I would have felt better about them, you know, if Jonathan Taylor, they could have got things resolved there, but I do think they're headed in a good direction. It's just, hey, you're in the beginning of this rebuild, essentially. New coaching staff on the offensive side of the football. You brought in Anthony Richardson. That's who you drafted. the offensive line, honestly, I think is going to have a good season this year outside of, is it Will Frieza? He plays right guard, right? I can't remember if he plays. No, he plays right guard, definitely. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. Defensively, I just don't think they have enough firepower there. The secondary is extremely young, so it's like they have a lot going against them. But the top of this tier, the last team I have in this tier is the Houston Texans, excuse me. I love the coaching staff. D'Amico Ryans, he was probably the top name on everybody who needed head coach's coaching list. He brings in Bobby Slowick, who's gonna incorporate that Kyle Shanahan wide zone blocking scheme. For the most part, I feel good about the offensive line in some regards. Can they get better in certain places? Absolutely, but like they have a really good tackle tandem right there. They don't have the playmakers just yet, but they could surprise you. They brought in some speed, and honestly, that's what this offense gets predicated on. You know, those Kyle Shanahan offenses love speed. Then defensively, you know, I don't think D'Amico's going to turn the ship in year one, but this defense could end up much better than we expected. They bring in Will Anderson as a first-round pick, Jimmy Ward, who's familiar with the scheme. So while it might not, I'm not saying they're going to be like a top 15 defense, but I definitely think they're trending in the right direction. And that secondary, low-key, is like really, really, really nice. So just to give you all a quick look at that first tier of teams here, I have the Arizona Cardinals at 32. We got the Rams at 31, the Raiders at 30, the Colts at 29, and then the Houston Texans at 28. Let's go ahead and get to this next tier I have here. Could be, but not likely. Kind of already explained what that is. I have 1, 2, 3. I have only 4 teams in this tier. You're going to look at this wild card contender tier. That's really, really chunky. So the next team I have here is actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're an extremely talented team. Obviously, the offensive line, not ideal. You got Wirfs kicking to the opposite side, and he said that's giving him some anxiety and whatnot, trying to just move to left tackle, be that for this offense. You got Baker Mayfield, which, I mean, that's going to be a roller coaster in itself. But you look at the playmakers, amazing. Defensively, this is a really, really good squad, and this is definitely a team I think could definitely outplay wherever their projection may be. The next team up here is going to be the Chicago Bears, coming in at 26. They're trending in the right direction, but I still don't quite think they are there yet. Maybe they prove me wrong. And to be fair, I am a Justin Fields mark. I really am. I loved him coming out of the draft. I think he's people that think he is just a running quarterback, I think you got it all wrong, because very much so at Ohio State, he was a phenomenal passer. He needs to kind of get the processing going, or at least coming together. He's not the quickest processor, can be a little conservative and hold on to the ball too long, but when you have that athletic skill set, man, things are turning up. They add DJ Moore, the offensive line added Nate Davis. I'm a huge fan of, but I feel like at least the defensive line for this team is just, I don't know how they're going to create pressure. I don't. So I think the defense is just going to end up being a huge liability, and it's going to result in them, I don't think being a team that can make the playoffs. But again, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong about all this. Next, we got the Washington Commanders. I have them just ahead of the Chicago Bears at 25, and I absolutely love Sam Howell. He was one of my favorite prospects coming out of the 2022 class. I think he has what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. I think he has a very talented arm, he's got a cannon, knows how to throw with touch. He was kind of coming from a very RPO-heavy system under Mac Brown at North Carolina. And everyone thought he was going to be a top 10 pick after his freshman season. And it just, the next 2 years just didn't kind of work out that way for him. But now here he is as the starter under Eric Bieniemy, which is just going to be phenomenal. They have a big chance to surprise this year, but I don't know in year one of Sam Howell if this is going to be a team that can be a contender, so to speak. And then the final team I have in this tier is gonna cause a lot of problems for people. I got the New England Patriots. The AFC is just tough, man. It really, really is. Me being a Dolphins fan, I know people are gonna say I'm very, very biased, but I mean, if you watch my Dolphins deep dive, if you see where I have the Dolphins doing, like how I have them doing, then I try to be as unbiased as I can. But the Patriots, I'm not the big. I wasn't a big fan of Mac Jones coming out of the draft. I did like that New England said, hey, you know, we do like Mac Jones, but we're not going to trade up for that guy. They just sat there at their pick and were able to get him. He has shown flashes, but I don't think there's a big upside with him. I don't know how much, even with Bill O'Brien running the offense, I don't know how much spark there is going to be to this offense. And that kind of sucks because they have a very good defense that will keep them in games. It just sucks that the AFC is extremely tough. So quick look at going back to what I have currently in my power rankings. We got the New England Patriots they're at 24, the Washington Commanders at 25, Chicago Bears at 26, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 27. Let's just go ahead. We're actually going to jump to this view now. That way you can see a lot more that's going on here. And let me just scroll down a little bit. There we go. All right, so wild card contenders. This is gonna be this is the meatiest tier of them all. Teams that I think are gonna be vying for the playoffs. They might not make it at the end of the day, but they are gonna be there until the wire, in my opinion. And we're gonna start off with the Green Bay Packers. Listen, I think Jordan Love, I'm not a naysayer when it comes to Jordan Love. I get it. I get the upside when it comes to him. He's got a lot of young weapons, and you're kind of hoping those will emerge. He's got a very good offensive line, as long as they can stay healthy. So, like, offense, I don't think it's nearly as dire as a situation as people may think it is. When it comes to the defense, they have phenomenal stars on defense. The problem is their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry. He's not great. He's basically what kind of sinks this team down a little bit for me. All right, so the team I got coming in at 22 is going to be the Carolina Panthers. They're going to make a run for the NFC South. They really, really are. But this is a team that had dealt with a turnover when it came to coaching staff. They got in a franchise there. At least they drafted their franchise quarterback, but I don't think they're there completely yet. They could surprise though and end up sneaking into the playoffs, maybe even winning their division. But that's more, they're really here because their division's not exactly the strongest, in my opinion. Speaking of not strong divisions, next team I got here is the Tennessee Titans. A lot of questions. The offensive line, I don't know if I'm a believer. I really don't. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of different combinations of that offensive line, especially when they get Nicholas Petit-Frere back from suspension. They got D-Hop. That's great. Treylon Burks now gets to be kind of the second target here. So, like, the weapons are there. You still have Derrick Henry. But I really don't know how much offense this team is going to be able to put up. I think it's going to be interesting and it may be surprising. They do have Tim Kelly now calling the shots there, who was praised mightily because a lot of like what they did when they got into the red zone was in fact Tim Kelly. They were the 6th best scoring red zone team in the NFL last year. So now he's calling the shots, not Todd Downing. Defensively, it's business as usual, man. This is a very good defense and it's going to keep them in games, especially if they can stay healthy. So big fan of the Tennessee Titans. Again, I'm kind of fans of all these like middle group teams. The next two teams, I might as well do them both at the same time. It's the Atlanta Falcons, and then it's the New Orleans. Oh, no, that's the Dallas Cowboys. Where y'all at, Saints? Oh, there they all are. The New Orleans Saints. As you can see, we got the full NFC South all right here. And it might be a real coin toss who wins that division. It really might. Like, Atlanta made a lot of moves this offseason, and really kind of their biggest question right now is the quarterback position, Desmond Ridder. Either you really like him or you really don't. I kind of fall in the middle of the ground. I want to see more. I just want to see more, but I feel really good that this team's going to compete. And I don't know if I feel like they're going to be like a 9-10 win team, and that might be good enough to win the division. But the Saints, they're very well put together too. They're very well coached under Dennis Allen. And oh man, they added some solid rookies there to help with the pass rush. We'll see if the pass rush could be better than it was last year. It was very stagnant. Don't tell me about, oh, they were 5th in sacks. Okay, cool. They were in the bottom 4 of pressures. Sacks is such a misinterpreted number, or statistic, I should say. They bring in Derek Carr. He was a bit of a roller coaster last year. And it wouldn't be fair to say Derek Carr has never been good in his career. That's not fair. We have seen good Derek Carr. We really have. Can he be it here for this offense? We shall see. Next team here coming at 18 is the Denver Broncos and Mr. Unlimited. That's right. Is Russ washed? I don't want to believe that he is. Keep in mind, man, this cat was considered probably like a top 5, top 7 quarterback in the league going into his final season in Seattle. He gets I think what it was, like a broken thumb or a busted thumb, busted finger on the throwing hand nonetheless. And he returns back probably earlier than he should have, and just didn't look the same. At that moment, people were like, oh, he's washed. I was like, he was kind of really good prior to the injury, so I don't think that's fair. And then Denver, and he kind of looked washed, but maybe he bounces back this season under Sean Payton, because this is a team with a very good offensive line. They got solid weapons there. They get a healthy Javonte Williams. Defensively, they're going to be a very solid team, so yeah, I think they're going to be in contention in a very tough AFC. And then we're going to go back to the NFC for this with the New York Football Giants. I may not be the biggest believer in Danny Dimes, but I absolutely believe in Brian Daboll in that offense, man. He coached these guys up. They have more weapons to work with this season, so that's solid. You get Darren Waller. They draft Jalen Hyatt. Defensively, they're still kind of building there, so there's still some questions, but I love Wink, so it's like they have a coaching staff that will coach these guys up. They were overachievers last year. Like, they really were, and honestly, they can be again. All right, number 16, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably playing in the toughest division in football. And if you didn't know, this is the first team from the AFC North on this list. The Steelers are trended in the right direction. Maybe Matt Canada expands the offense this year. Kenny Pickett looked good in the preseason. I think George Pickens is on the verge. Like, he's going to break out this season and just be an all-star. That defense, always great. Corner could be better, but I think it's fine. It's better than it has been in the past. So, yeah, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be a solid team. Is it going to be good enough to get to the playoffs in the AFC? It's going to be a tough call there. Okay, we got the Detroit Lions coming in right after them. And, oh, man, a lot of people are buying into the Detroit Lions, man. Hey, this team was a top 10 defense last season with Jared Goff. Jared Goff's brilliant. Jared Goff's solid. He is. I am a much bigger believer of him now than I was at the beginning of last season. JMO ain't back until week 6, but you know what? It's like I think Goff did great even with minimal weapons last season. They added Sam Laporta. They bring in Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm very fascinated how they're going to utilize him. So they still got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have one of, if not the best offensive line in football. The defense, it's trending up, but keep in mind, it was very much a bottom unit last year. Granted, they played a lot better in the second half of the season. And if we see that second half of the season defense this year, they're probably going to be this like somewhere between like 15 and 20 when it comes to the defense. So they're going to be competed. They're going to be competed for that NFC North. Though, I mean, again, we could kind of talk these teams in the same vein, because, like, I got the Vikings right after that. Kirk Cousins. They got the best receiver in football in Jordan Jefferson. They have they added Jordan Addison. TJ Hawkinson just got an extension that was well worth it. The offensive line is very solid. They feel good about Alexander Madison. Even then, they feel good about Ty Chandler. Defensively, it's a massive turnover. It really is. Now, yeah, Brian Flores coming in here. How different will the scheme be? And if it really is going to go to more of a press man scheme, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the current coverage players that they have now, how do they kind of play into that? All in all, I think it's kind of going to be this dogfight between the Lions and the Vikings to see who wins the NFC North. And then the final team I have in this tier is the Cleveland Browns. Simply put, it's because I don't know what to expect from Deshaun Watson. Will he be the Deshaun Watson we saw prior to him not playing, not playing with the Texans? Like, if you think back, dude, this dude was a top 5 quarterback in the league. Then he missed football for like 700 days and gets traded. New system under Stefanski, and a lot of rust to shake off. Maybe this year we get a better look, but outside of that being the biggest question, you look at the rest of this team and it's like, this is Super Bowl caliber team with just one massive question mark. One massive. So that kind of concludes that tier. Let's go over real quick as we got the Green Bay Packers at 23, Carolina Panthers at 22, the Tennessee Titans at 21, the Atlanta Falcons at 20. You got the Saints at 19, the Broncos at 18, the Giants at 17, Steelers at 16, the Detroit Lions at 15, Minnesota Vikings at 14, and then the Cleveland Browns at 13. Like I said, it was definitely the meatiest tier that I had. Now I have this tier of just playoff teams that I'm like, they definitely probably deserve to be called Super Bowl contenders, but I think they're closer to just a team that are they're guaranteed probably a playoff team. They're closer to that than they are Super Bowl contenders, at least in my opinion. And we're going to start with the Los Angeles Chargers, kind of the epitome of that, right? This is the team a lot of people are excited with Kellen Moore. Maybe they're going to utilize that big cannon of arm that Justin Herbert has. They bring in Quentin Johnston, drafted from TCU, who's got good long field speed. Big bodied, but also a guy that can turn it upfield extremely quickly. So we'll see what goes down with this offensively. It's just the defense kind of leaves me wanting more. The run defense is just terrible. It really is. It's the worst in football. And I don't really think they made any necessary additions to help out with that. I know some people will be like, well, Eric Kendrick. It's like, I'm looking along the defensive line, not when these running backs get to the second level. So they come in here at 12. Right after them, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I do think Geno's going to regress in some form or fashion, and I know some people will maybe find that surprising. I mean, guys, this guy broke out after being in the league for about 10 years. And a big number was his 56% adjusted completion percentage downfield. That's just a number I will be shocked if he can replicate anything close to that. Like, okay, you tell me he's like a 45, 47 adjusted completion percentage. Like, okay, that could make sense. If he comes down from that, still makes him a really good deep ball passer. But that 56 is just going to be really hard to replicate. But this is a team that they added a lot of good weapons. Offensively, we got Zach Charbonnet, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Defensively, they continue to grow and add young talent. So, yeah, this is a team I think we can definitely call them a playoff contender. Don't know if I would call them a Super Bowl contender, though. And then, again, I'm going to show how unbiased I am. I got my Miami Dolphins. I actually, in my deep dive, didn't have the Dolphins making the playoffs. Because, one, they have the hardest schedule in the NFL. It's going to be tough. And two, the AFC is going to be a bloodbath. You might have to win 11 games to make the playoffs. It's as simple as that. I think if Tua can stay healthy, man, we've seen a lot of good from Tua. He can be that point guard and just distribute the ball, allow his receivers to create after the catch. But he's also obviously got these like ridiculous long, like just speedy, deep field weapons in Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. The offensive line, they added Isaiah Wynn, and I'm glad to hear that he's going to be a starter. But I do still have my concerns with the offensive line. Defensively, this is going to be a phenomenal unit. So I'm cool with that. They're a great team. Again, a lot of this hinges on the health of Tua. And because to be fair, we also saw like the high end of Tua last year and also just the meh end of Tua. So kind of curious, what quarterback is he? He probably falls somewhere in between. I think that's fair assessment. I don't know if he could be a top 10 quarterback. I mean, there were points where he was, but I think maybe say top 12 might be a bit more fair. I think he could definitely be in that range. All right in front of my Miami Dolphins, I have the New York Football Jets. Aaron Rodgers' revenge season. They have Garrett Wilson, and honestly, that's about the only weapon I think they have offensively. They got Alan Lazard. Aaron Rodgers, good buddy. Okay, cool, great. When I say offensively, more pertaining to the passing game. You could also include Dalvin Cook, though, as a good receiving target. The run game is going to be vital here. And, I mean, with Breece Hall, you got Dalvin Cook. You have Michael Carter there, too, as well as a really good scat back option. So this is a team I think that's going to be able to run the ball effectively. They're going to need parts of their offensive line to kind of step up. Like, the tackles are kind of big question marks. Lincoln Tomlinson, in his first year of getting a good deal, didn't exactly look great. But I expect him to bounce back anyway. Defense is great. It's going to be great. It's going to be one of the best defenses in the league. It's going to keep them in games. All right, at number 8 here, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought about putting them as a Super Bowl contender. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to make that jump yet for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think we're going to definitely see this offense go off this year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to explode, and he's going to get into that, like, that borderline elite conversation, kind of what we had with Jalen Hurts last year. You know, where it's like, oh, Jalen Hurts is here. He is here. He is a top 10, top 7 quarterback in the league. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be going the same way, especially now with Calvin Ridley, who's going to remind the world, hey, I used to be that guy. I used to be that darn good, and you're going to see it. A lot of good offensive weapons. Yes, some questions along the offensive line. Defense, I think, is trending in the right direction. And, yeah, I think this team is just on the up and up. And fortunately for them, they don't play in a very good division in the AFC South. And then the final team that I had here, I really do think they're Super Bowl contenders. It's the Baltimore Ravens. My only question with them is health. It's health. Can they stay healthy? This is a team that has been very unhealthy the last couple of years, whether it's Lamar, whether it's the running back position, Ronnie Stanley, the receivers, Rashad Bateman, or anyone else they had there at receiver. I mean, they bring in Odell, who just missed all of last year. And then even some defensively. So, like Marcus Williams wasn't, he missed some games last year. Can they still stay healthy? Because on the outside looking in, this is a Super Bowl contender. It really is. And I honestly think they deserve to be in that other tier. But I mean, they're kind of like borderline for me just because of the health factor. So going back, let's take a look at this final, this last tier we did is we had the Los Angeles Chargers at 12, Seattle Seahawks at 11, the Miami Dolphins at 10, the New York Jets at 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 8, and then the Baltimore Ravens at 7. Now here is the final tier, the Super Bowl contenders, teams that I legitimately think are going to contend for a title. And I gotta put this as the first team here, being the Dallas Cowboys, because they are a joke in the playoffs. At least they have been. But this team is so talented. They add Brandon Cooks. That's a scary trio of receivers there with Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, who was getting healthy last year. Terrifying. Tony Pollard now kind of becomes the bell cow back there. The offensive line is reasonably solid too. I mean, Tyler Smith was solid in his rookie year. They just extended Terrence Steele, which was great for my mock draft, I swear. And then on you look at the defensive side of the football, they got Micah Parsons, who is just a wrecker. One of, if not the, let's go with one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They add Stephon Gilmore to play across the Trevon Diggs. They extended Malik Hooker, who's kind of had a career resurgence here, and they still have Donovan Smith. Do they? I'm trying to think. Do they have Jayon Curse, right? Or J-Rod Curse, excuse me. Yeah, he's still there. And he's still playing extremely well. He really is. Okay. Like, this is a team with a lot of good weapon, or a team with a lot of good players on defense. They invested on the interior to be able to be more effective at stopping the run. And Mozzie Smith, they Damone Clark, fallen in the draft because of I want to say it was a spinal injury, or spinal condition or injury. I can't recall though. Don't quote me. But didn't think he was going to play football last year, and he played down the stretch and looked really good. So a team with all of the talent, the question lies with Dak, because like when Dak is on, this is a team that's scoring a lot of points. But we do know he has that turnover-worthy throw bug to him. Okay. Next team up here at number 5 is the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is the biggest upside quarterback in the NFL. There, I said it. Him and Stephon Diggs are a scary, terrifying connection. Ken Dorsey is going to probably be a head coach after this season. At least that's what I'm projecting. That's what I am thinking. And this defense is always good. It really is. This team is a contender. And as a Dolphins fan, I'm dying inside. At number 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers. For me, it's like, okay, Brock Purdy. Is he it? Some people are like, yes. Some people are like, oh, he's overrated. I'm like, hey, this guy, after his first 2 years at Iowa State, some people thought he had like that grittiness, that gunslinger mentality, and just accuracy and whatnot, anticipation to be a first rounder. And then his last 2 years at Iowa State kind of killed all that, and I thought we kind of saw bits and pieces of that Brock Purdy, the Brock Purdy we saw at the beginning of his Iowa State career. So I'm rooting for Brock Purdy, and I think he is capable of running this offense very effectively, because he does, like, despite having a bit of a noodle of an arm, he does give this team the deep ball more so than it was under, like, Jimmy G, which is kind of wild enough, because I would say Jimmy G has a bigger arm, but kind of is what it is, man. Brock Purdy, man. I may not be sold, but like, this team's so talented that he's just surrounded by great talent. He really, really is. At number 3, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, amazing. Jamar Chase, that connection, it was great at LSU, and it's been phenomenal in Cincinnati. I'm a big fan of Coach Lou there on the defense. He coaches this team very up. Not to say they don't have stars on the squad, because they do. Like DJ Reader is like such a huge part for this defense. He really, really is. Chidobe Awuzie, he really found his footing on this team once he signed, coming over from the Cowboys, and unfortunately was hurt last season. So like, they have some stars there. They really do. Like, this is a squad that will be contended for Super Bowls for like the next 10 years. And then at number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is so complete. It's so complete. In all honesty, I think they are the best team in the NFC. Like, and not to say it's not even close, but I do think it's like, you go Eagles, and then maybe another, like, a couple of steps down, and you have like the Niners and the Cowboys, which I know Niners are gonna be like, which beat the Cowboys last year. It was close, and it came down to Ezekiel Elliott snapping the football, guys. Come on. So I think it's like Eagles, take a step, take another step, and it's those other 2 squads. Just very talented. Jalen Hurts broke out last season, and I don't expect the offense to change much under Brian Johnson. They still have Patulu, who designed a lot of the passing offense, and yeah, we're probably going to see a collaboration when it comes to the play calling there, but it shouldn't be much different than what we saw last season. So this is going to be, again, a phenomenal team, loads of talent. And then, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to finish this category here. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. I don't care if the opposing team is up 30 points. As long as you have Patrick Mahomes, you are never truly out of the game. That's how big play Patrick Mahomes is. This defense is slowly becoming a home wrecker. They really, really are. They have some studs on that defense. And then just offensively, it's like, I don't care that Tyreek Hill's gone. This team was like, you know what? With that money we're not going to use on Tyreek Hill, like, we could bring in receivers and kind of have a true variety. And variety is the spice of life, and it's the spice of the receiving core. Because you know what? It's still his number 1 weapon. Travis Kelce is still there. This offensive line is really good. I know you're going to have questions about the tackles, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be that different than it was last season. So, listen, it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, man. They are phenomenal. So, to end this video off, here is my complete power rankings going into the season. This is what I'm going to base my power ranking videos off week in and week out. So all movement next week after week 1, it's going to be based off of this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.